So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight I'm joined by two members from the band Hands of Goro. I'm joined by Tom and by Adrian, and we're here to talk about the debut record that's coming out in March. So, first of all, guys, how are you tonight?
Doing great. No complaints.
Yeah,
Good.
it's been a very rainy day here in the Bay Area today, but I think the rain has finally stopped. We're not used to
all day.
Yeah, we're not used to rain, so it's like pretty weird for us when it happens.
Oh, I'm in Puerto Rico, so it's the last 3 days has been raining a lot. So it's it rains here a lot too. So I'm used to rain. So I listened to the album. It's pretty interesting because I like how you describe. There's a on the promos of it that describes that you want to be the third wave of new wave of British heavy metal. So care to elaborate on that? The third, yeah, the third, not the first, the third. Uh, so yeah, tell us a little bit about that because obviously I listened to the album and it has that flavor from the new wave of British heavy metal, but with other styles. For people that haven't listened to the band, you have two singles out, which one is Uncanny, and the other one I can't remember the name. I have to read it because it's Archduke of Fear, which actually closes the album. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about first of all, like the band. How did you guys form way back in 2016? How did it came about?
Oh gosh, well, actually it started even earlier than that when Tom came to a show for my other band that I play bass in, and he came up to me after the show and said, "Hey man, I play guitar," and he went, "Where?" And I said, "Yeah, all right." And then he said, "Hey man, call me when you need a guitar player." So it took me like a year to call him back because I already have like 10 guitar players and they're all really good. And so I really never need a guitar player. But about a year went by and I got an offer to do a gig at some festival in San Francisco. And none of my other bandmates for anything could do anything. So I said, "Hey, I'm going to call that guy Tom, see if he wants to do it." And that was that. So basically, we picked the name first, and then I accepted the gig, and then we wrote some songs.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. And some of those songs that we wrote in that first week or two are on the album. Like Uncanny was in that very first set, and I think Prince of Shokan was as well. Did we have Demonizer by then?
End to End.
End to End as well. Yeah, that came up in our very first jam.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of came about with very little planning or thought, I think is the easiest way to put it. Like the sound is just kind of what happened naturally without us really discussing what we were going to do. And we liked it, so we just ran with it.
It's the influence of Shang Tsung from the Outworld, who kind of filtered the chaos into the Earth realm and somehow found Tom and I and Will, our original drummer. And somehow we were all inspired to bring chaos and disorder into the Earth.
Awesome. And because I was researching the name, were you inspired by Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Because I'm like Goro. I've heard that name before. I'm like, oh yeah, that's that dude from Mortal Kombat with a lot of hands.
He's the one who gives us direction on how to go.
Yeah, or if not, he'll turn limb by limb. So were you guys big into Mortal Kombat as a video game?
Yes.
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 We played it all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a friend who lived about 3 doors away from me growing up who had a Sega Genesis with Mortal Kombat on it, and we had the cheat codes so you could turn on all the blood for the fatalities, and we used to play that like after school every single day.
Yeah, it was a great game. I was more into Street Fighter, But yeah, Mortal Kombat was more gory, but I don't know. I think just Street Fighter, I think the characters were a little bit more sleek. I don't know, but yeah. But I remember Mortal Kombat, the first, and I can't remember where Goro came out, but when I saw the name, I'm like, yeah, I think that's from Mortal Kombat. I'm like, okay, I'm sure it is from that. So you guys formed. I was reading. So you guys formed in 2016, but you wrote two songs more like in 20, the first two songs that you wrote was like in 2020 to 2022, I was reading, correct?
Those were the new songs. The
The
new
new song.
songs. Yeah, we so the new record, well, the first record is basically the first set of songs we did on our EP, which came out, I think, in 2017. And then we wrote some more songs when we started working with our drummer Avinash from the band Nite. And we were having a good time. We decided to re-record some of the old songs and release that. But then we wrote a couple more songs and decided to make it a whole record. So that's what we have now, and we're happy with it. And we think the world will become a much worse place because of it.
What a much worse place. You're adopting like the green jelly mentality.
Yes.
Where they're like, we suck, we're so bad.
No, not so much that. It's not that we are self-deprecating. It's more that we want our music to bring chaos and disorder to the world. And from that, I mean, that's basically what Goro is inspiring us to do. And so I think we've been doing a pretty good job so far, because the world is it's a pretty terrible place right now. So we're doing good.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about the recording process for for the new songs. What was the process for you guys recording this, like lyric wise and music wise?
Tom.
Well, musically, we wanted to try and make it sound like a real band in a room. You know, like anybody can record to a click track and kind of build up a home recording. That's very easy for people to do now. In a sense, that's kind of what we did, because we didn't go to any real studios. But our drummer Avinash is also a very good like record producer, and he's a good engineer as well. So he was able to mic up his own drum kit in our practice space. And Adrian and I, like, you know, we used like guitar and bass simulators, so we could all play in headphones and record nice clean drum tracks with no bleed. And then we used those drum tracks like kind of as the foundations of the album. So I tracked guitars at home, and then we reamped them in the practice space. So, you know, real microphones, real guitar amps, not amp simulators. Then we took those tracks to Adrian's practice space, where we added the bass, again, like real mic'd up bass. I think we actually recorded the bass through a tape machine for that nice, like extra natural compression.
Yes, we did.
Adding analog elements into an otherwise very digital recording process. And then the penultimate thing we did was vocals, and the very last thing we did was liberally sprinkle weird synth noises over the entire record, because we thought it would be fun and it would sound cool.
Yeah, I was reading that you guys recorded part of the album in the Boatyard and Francisco Studios, you know, in an old like naval base, and then you did some of the other parts in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco.
Yeah, my rehearsal space in San Francisco is pretty much in the worst part of town.
I know. I went to San Francisco in 20. When was it that I went? Where in 2024? I went in 2021, and everyone told me to stay away from the Tenderloin.
Hey, you should have called us. We would have taken you on the grand tour. We show you all the drugs, all the transvestites, and all the homeless people. It's great.
I saw homeless people everywhere. So
that will happen. Yeah, yes. A guy tried to sell us 2 violins for $7 on our way into practice a few weeks ago.
That's hilarious. So yeah, so obviously you guys the sound of the record, you know, it's pretty cool, because like it also it sounds like that fun that a lot of like the British wave of heavy metal bands had. So for you guys, like growing up, like what were your musical influences starting as a musician?
I guess really my brother was one of my biggest influences because he was a guitar player, and one of the first songs I remember learning how to play on guitar was like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden stuff, and my brother and all his friends, introduced me to like Black Sabbath and a bunch of cool bands. I mean, at that time, I mean, I was like maybe 10 years old when that was happening. But then as I got into a few years go by, I started getting into the punk rock thing and started meeting other people and seeing other bands and playing music with other people. And it just kind of escalated from there. And I think Tom and I both have extreme wide ranges of musical tastes and influences. And it comes out in the music because when we're writing songs, you know, either one of us can throw something out that might not have anything to do with heavy metal. And we can somehow make that a part of our music because it's what we want to do, really. That's all we're doing. We're making music that we like to play and that we like to listen to and that we think is going to somehow create a sonic disaster that will pummel the earth into chaos and disorder and stir up all so that Shang Tsung and his master plan will eventually come to fruition.
Goro's got to win that. Goro's got to win that tournament again. Like he's still reeling from his defeat. We're laying the groundwork for that to happen. In terms of my musical background, though, when I started playing guitar, I was learning songs by the band Oasis, and
I love
like
Oasis.
Noel Gallagher was my first guitar hero, and Radiohead, the Manic Street Preachers, those are the bands that made me want to play guitar. Then, as I started getting better at guitar, my friends were like, "Oh, you should listen to like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Iron Maiden." And after I did that, like I went headfirst into finding out everything I could about like old heavy metal, classic hard rock, 70s rock, like progressive rock, blues rock, like all kinds of it, really. I've been playing guitar for about 25 years now, and I think about 20 of those I've been in some variation of a metal band. Like I played in a covers band for about 10 years in London where we played Priest, Maiden, Metallica, like Thin Lizzy, all that's every Sunday night. I was in the band Angel Witch for a little while, like the actual new wave of British heavy metal band playing those songs.
Oh, I remember.
I've got a very deep affinity for that kind of music. And I think just as a function of playing it so much, it's very naturally become part of my style. So I think it's similar to the bands that Adrian was listing there as well. I think there's a large community of people who just kind of immediately grasp onto the common threads that make those old metal and rock bands so great in the songwriting. The way they structure the songs, the way the guitars and the bass sound, like the guitar harmonies. It's a common language. And Adrian and I, and Avinash too, of course, we all speak the same musical language. And we hope that other people who understand that language hear Hands Of Goro and they hear the same things that we hear in it because we think it's cool and we wouldn't do it if we didn't.
No, and
it's funny that Tom says how he's been playing in metal bands the whole time, whereas like I really didn't play in many metal bands at all. But I kept on being recruited by the metal bands because at a young age, I learned that the Steve Harris Gallup was an essential tool as a bass player. And so I learned how to do that at a very young age. I was like, oh, that's something that I know I'm going to need. Like I'm gonna need to know how to do that. And then anytime people were looking for a bass player, they were always like, oh, you can do that Steve Harris thing, yeah? And I was like, oh yeah, and so it worked. But I never really joined those bands. I was always just like doing a couple of shows with these people, or maybe some recording projects in the 90s or something. And it really wasn't until I moved to San Francisco in 1999 when I started playing in metal bands, really. And then because that was seemed to be, there was a lot of metal bands going on in the late 90s in San Francisco. And when I showed up on the scene, I mean, that there was tons of that. And I was like, okay, I'll do my Steve Harris thing. Boom, 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 boom. And it worked out, you know?
Yeah, no, the Bay Area is pretty well known for music. So so let's talk some of the tracks on the album. I know it's 8 tracks. There people can listen to 2 of the tracks that are already out. But I really enjoyed. Obviously, there's a track that everyone will know what it's about with 21st Century Plague, and I like the beginning of that song because it sounds like someone is like leaving a message or something, right?
Totally. I mean, when we came up with that song was, I think, literally like in 2020.
Uh,
You
You
don't
know, I mean,
stay. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I know, right? There was one day that in California where the entire sky was like orange and red the whole day, and the sun never came out. And we all thought it was Judgment Day. And like I thought Judgment Day was upon us, the machines were going to turn against us, all hell's going to break loose. Like, this is it. You know, I was waiting for the T-1000 to just bust through my door. And so I was texting Tom. I was like, man, we got to write a song about this, man. And so again, I think we came up with the title before any of the music. So
yeah, I definitely remember you telling me about the title quite a few times before we actually had a song going there.
yeah, oh yeah, we didn't have any music at all. We were just talking about the song title and lyrics.
What I really love about the music for that song is that Adrian had a couple of ideas for a few riffs, but like what happens with a lot of Hands Of Goro songs, like nobody ever comes in with a finished song. You know, like we'll have a riff or two and we'll be like, okay, what would sound cool after that? And we'll just kind of mess around on our guitars until we have something that works, and then we'll try it. And a lot of the times that's then the next part, and then we'll move on. Something we love doing in this band is having very different parts throughout the song. Like we'll have a section, maybe the third section of the song will be so far removed from the first, you'll be like, is this even the same song anymore? But still keep it in a kind of compact package. Like I think the longest of our songs is like 6 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. Most of them are like 3 to 4 minutes, but I think that's good because it keeps people guessing. Like, if everything's similar, it gets boring. Another
Right.
track that I really like was Demonizer. That one really had that Judas Priest vibe to it.
Yeah, that one's fast.
Yeah.
That was just one of those things where I think we just wanted to go for it, you know?
Yeah, let's write a fast song.
Yeah, let's take a riff, you know, get it going, you know, have a guitar solo, some cool drum stuff. And I mean, it wasn't hard. It came pretty straight out from the Goro, inspiring us to demonize the world.
And I know that I recorded like a scratch guitar solo on a very early demo of that song, and I didn't realize Adrian actually ended up finishing that demo himself, putting drums on it, and it ended up being on our first EP. So that very first guitar solo I ever tried recording on that song is still the same guitar solo that is on the new album and that I play every time we play the song. Because I would have just thrown it away, but Adrian was like, no, that's good, we'll use that. So thanks, Adrian, that was cool.
It worked.
It worked.
So for you guys, do you have like a favorite track for the album, like a song that you're like is the one that you like the most to play or listen to?
Let's see. Do I? I don't know.
Which one Goro tells you like this is the one?
It's like asking to choose a favorite child. It's like I can, but I don't know if I should.
Yeah, well, I have 2 children, so it's easy.
It can only be one.
Just say your just say that your favorite is the one that's standing next to you.
Yes, that's a good way of saying it.
That's a good.
I gotta say I do really love Uncanny because I think it was learning that song right at the beginning. The first thing Adrian showed me that made me think like, oh wow, this project's going to be good. Like this, even though like Adrian sent me like a home demo he'd made of the song, I was like nowhere near finished, but I could already tell like it had that main riff had a really great hook. Like the verse section was cool, and like then just like the roller coaster of different sections it goes through all the way through the rest of the song. It's like it's a weird journey that song takes. You know, different sections come back in different keys and stuff. I would say probably that's my favorite.
If I had to pick, I'm gonna say "You Have No Face," because it's got a crazy ass guitar intro with, and it's got some fast parts, and it's just not really. I don't think it's anything like any of the other songs, and it's something that I think we want to do more of. We want to do more like, you know, crazy stuff like that, because it's not really it's not technically amazing. It's not lyrically challenging really. But it's fun. It's fun for
You're
us.
like, it's not technically amazing. I love how you say it. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's kind of a messy, scrappy song, you know. Like it's almost got kind of like it doesn't sound like it, but it feels kind of grindcore to me in the chorus. Like especially when we get to the kind of those bits where the snares going like almost like a blast beat, you know, in the little fills. Like
yeah, but sometimes I don't know how you
having
guys feel, but sometimes if something sounds like too pristine or too clean sounding, I don't know, it sounds too perfect. You want something like this, like in your face. Sometimes that doesn't sound perfect all the time.
we've never had that problem with this band.
It's got to be real, you know. It's got to be real, and I think the three of us in this band are we're relaxed enough, and we're on the same page that, you know, if something can change on the fly, we'll just go for it. You know, it's not something where we're gonna go, oh no. You know, it's like we're cool enough with each other where if something feels like it's gonna naturally develop into a left turn, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already working on new songs where that is definitely happening.
Awesome. So I want to show the artwork, which is pretty cool for people who haven't seen it. So here we have the artwork for Hands of Goro. So yeah, this is a pretty cool artwork. Tell me a little bit about who worked on the artwork, and obviously this artwork, you can tell yourself that it's gonna be a fun ride.
Yeah, the inspiration for this was really I found a artist that was kind of into this style of almost Japanese manga, and she was super cool, and she didn't want to represent Goro like exactly like the video game, you know.
No, you were gonna get sued, man.
That's fine. That's the point, man. If I wanted more Goro, because imagine we had this crazy lawsuit on us. You know, we're getting sued by this multinational corporation, right?
Yeah.
And we're just like we're like a three-piece band from San Francisco, you know, trying to play some heavy metal music, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know if Goro's that, but I had to Google him, and they're like, oh yeah, that guy. But yeah, you can. But I saw the cover, I'm like, yeah, that looks vaguely familiar. I remember being that guy killing me in the video game. So
I actually did a sketch of this for the artist on a post-it note, and maybe it's in the email somewhere. I don't know. But I actually did a sketch of this, and I drew the little mountain, and I drew the little Goro on there, and I drew some little skulls and spears and stuff. And I said, you know, he's looking at you from the top of the mountain. You know, there's you know, suffering and fire and stuff. And she totally got it. She was like, okay, I know exactly what you want.
yeah.
And so the elements on here that are hand drawn are the skull dude in the forefront, the arms and stuff, the spears, the spires, a little bit of the background on the left and the right side are all hand drawn, and then she brought it into the computer and made the fire and the mountain, I believe, are digital. And then she also hand drew the logo. So
It's cool. Yeah.
yeah, so that was one of those things I wanted. There was a lot of artists out there that they do everything in the computer these days. And I didn't want that at all. I was like, no, I want somebody who's, I don't mind using the computer as a tool. Hey, there it is. I don't mind using the computer as a tool to enhance things, but I want the basis of it to be some sort of human element. You know, I wanted somebody who was gonna like listen to the music and draw some crazy stuff, you know, and that's what she did, and I think she nailed it.
Yeah, no, cool. Yeah, it definitely goes with the music. So now, for the future, will you have like a Goro mascot? Because like you need to have Goro now, like like lurking
Yes.
in everywhere.
Once the record hits the streets and the money starts rolling in, then we will have giant robotic Goros coming out into the crowd and stuff. And maybe Tom and I will fight a giant Goro with our guitar. You know, yes. Once the millions start coming in, there's no end
You
to the
first
Goro
start
that
with the mini Goro, then the Goro will keep will keep getting like bigger.
the mini Goro will be made out of newspaper.
Just you. Hey, Iron Man. At first, when Iron Maiden started, like Eddie looked like he wasn't well defined. So
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
yeah. So
Yeah, live at the Ruskin Arms in like 1978. Yeah.
yeah. So so yeah, the album. What are the plans once the album comes out? Do you have some shows planned?
We are doing an album release show in the fine city of Oakland on Saturday, February 24th, with some of our friends' bands. Matt Harvey, the illustrious Matt Harvey of Gruesome, Left to Die, Exhumed, Pounder, etc. fame. His old thrash band Decapitator will be headlining, playing their first Bay Area show for about 14 years. And there's a great local San Francisco death thrash band called Molten is going to be opening the night. So that for now is our album release touring schedule, one show in Oakland. But we are reaching out to friends and promoters around the globe right now to try and get the idea of Hands of Goro in their heads and let them know that we are a viable option for booking. Because it's worth pointing out that all of us do play in other bands as well. Like Adrian has been very well established in Slough Feg for a long time. Avinash plays with Nite, that's Nite, out of San Francisco, and also Wretched Stench, a death metal band. I also play in Adrift. So
that's a great band. I love their last album. The last Adrift album.
Thanks. I play guitar solos on like 5 of the songs, I think.
Nice.
I was happy with that one. But what I'm saying is that Hands of Goro has it's always been more of a kind of fun side project to us in the past. But now we've actually got an album. We're thinking, hey, maybe we can actually, get out of town and play some shows. Ultimately, I'm speaking for myself here, but my goal for Hands of Goro is to have some cool adventures with Adrian and Avinash and play some shows in faraway places. Like, that's what I want to happen with this band. Like, making the record is a way of letting people know we exist. And it was a really fun process for us to make it. And, and now it means we're getting to meet people like you and be on Chill Dude on a Couch, which is rad. This band was especially during the pandemic when Avinash joined us, like it really was just a way to escape the horror of life at that time and the fact that we couldn't play any shows. We couldn't even really make any plans, And as working musicians, everyone had it bad. Working musicians had no way of getting that fixed until the restrictions lifted, So Hands of Goro was like a lifeline for us.
Yeah, I actually started this channel after like in the pandemic times too. So yeah, it was a fun way to do something. And at first when I interviewed bands, it was cool to talk about music, but then I'm like, what do you have planned? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Literally
playing?
not.
We don't know. Like, so the first interviews we just talk about music because obviously there's nothing planned. So
Yeah,
nobody
I'm just
was
gonna go check my dog.
no, nobody was doing anything. I started like at 2021. So it was like it took me a while to like start a channel at first. I'm like, should I do it? Should I do? So I finally didn't think about it that much. And now I'm speaking with lots of bands, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. I saw the people you've had on. It looks really successful. You've spoken to some excellent bands.
Yes,
And us.
well, hey, everyone starts somewhere, and I like talking to newer bands because when they get more famous stuff, they'll remember, we first spoke with the Shield dude, and but yeah, plus the album, I would recommend this to everyone that likes those classic, like metal bands from the 80s, the Judas Priest, and also Judas Priest, the Iron Maidens, new wave of British heavy metal, but also there's like I've seen recently there's a new wave of like newer bands doing this style. Like out of the top of my head, I remember BC Goth, which is a band that also does like this style of music. So I think it's fresh because to newer, younger crowds, maybe they listen to this and this is like totally something fucking new because now we have so many bands that sound like they play with laptops and they're all like modern and degenty all the time that this sounds like a fresh of breath air to newer crowds that are maybe not used to that music.
Definitely. And you can come and see Hands of Goro for like 10 or $15. If you want to go see Iron Maiden, it's gonna be like 150.
Yeah, I'm seeing Maiden, and yes, it was I can't remember how much I paid, but yeah, it's not cheap. But yeah, no, it's good for them. It started as a passion project, but of course, you want the band to go play places, and I'll put the link for people who want to pre-order the album. You're gonna have it on vinyl as well, right?
Yes.
It's just like this.
No, that's a cool
Hang on,
looking
take it
vinyl.
back. Yeah, it's a beautiful 12-inch vinyl, 4 songs on each side. It actually sounds much better on vinyl than it does on Spotify as well. So if you want the premium listening experience, you need this.
Anyone who really likes music knows that. I've heard people that don't like. They're like, oh, but it sounds the same as in Spotify. I'm like, no, it will never sound the same as in Spotify. So I'll post the link for people who want to pre-order that. So yeah, so right now, so besides Hands of Goro, like when you're not listening to music, is there like any newer bands that you're into right now?
Newer bands?
Yeah.
No. For
Adrian's
me,
not for Adrian. What about you, Tom?
I love a lot of new music, but none of it is rock or metal. There's a guy called Mayer Hawthorne who I'm obsessed with. He's like a kind of soul artist from Detroit. I love a band called Poolside, who are like a kind of electronic disco kind of thing from Los Angeles. There's a band called Young Guns Silver Fox, who are fantastic. They're from London, and they play music that kind of sounds like late 70s US AOR, like Christopher Cross, Michael McDonald era Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan. They are amazing. Chromeo, I know they're not that new now because they've been around like 10 or 15 years, but again, it's a kind of dancey thing. I think they're excellent. Tuxedo as well. I like a lot of like, kind of feel good, jazzy electronic stuff. Corey Wong is amazing. Tom Misch is amazing. I just perhaps I'm a little burned out on hard rock and heavy metal at this stage, having been obsessed with it for so long. Taking a little vacation, maybe a permanent one. I still love playing it, but listening to it kind of wears me out a little bit.
Yeah,
okay,
I love to listen to shoegaze bands.
Nice. Okay, my wife likes that stuff.
Yeah.
so
Like Slowdive.
newer bands in like hard rock, heavy metal. There's a band called Early Moods.
They're cool.
I think they're from LA or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw them a couple of years ago at the I think the Hell's Hero or I don't know, somewhere where Slough Feg was playing. And I heard some of the other kids talking like, "Oh, I'm gonna get there early and see Early Moods." Oh, okay, sure. Once I heard, I hear a few different people talking about it, like, cool. So I got there early, checked it out. They were really good, man. They put on a good show. They're excellent musicians. They have good songs. Um, Another band I like, which is not really new, but probably new to a lot of people, a band called Mega Colossus, out of I want to say like Charlotte or North Carolina or something like that. I don't know. He's gonna kill me if he hears this. But
I'm
anyway,
gonna find out. I'm gonna find out for you. I'm gonna save your
yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
Mega Colossus, and they're super cool dude.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
He's like, oh, Raleigh. Okay, I was right. Cool. Wow.
Nicely done.
Yeah, they're really good. They have good music, good songs, and it's silly heavy metal music, but it's a lot of fun. Other than that, I mean, I really don't explore a lot of new music unless I'm really exposed to it by somebody else. Because when I'm at home, I'm listening to stuff like, I don't know, what's on my turntable right now? On my turntable right now is a Lenny White. You guys know Lenny White?
The
No,
name's
actually,
familiar.
I don't.
He's like a funky dude from the 70s and stuff.
Yeah,
There you go.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. No,
Yeah,
I listen to music all the time doing the channel. Like I get so many like emails from so many bands, like promos. So sometimes I have to pick. I guess I get too much music. I'm like, there's a lot of music out there. But actually, last year in my top 20, actually, Spirit Adrift made my top 20 last
That's
year.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah. I see. Yeah, it looks cool, man.
How do I don't know how, because I have the
Because you have
background.
the you have the background, man. That happens. Yeah.
Fancy house, yeah.
I mean, the
I
thing
did-
is, if I turn off the background, then you're gonna see like my underwear is drying in the back on the little line and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No worries, man.
I did think of a band. They don't actually exist anymore, but they did until recently. Gygax from Southern
Oh,
California.
yeah.
They were an incredible band, and it broke my heart when they stopped touring and stopped playing together. They sounded like modern day Thin Lizzy if they were obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons.
What happened to them?
I don't know, man. I think it just fizzled out. I think there were logistical and personnel and organizational difficulties, from what I can gather.
It happens.
They were great at playing music and not at everything else, is the vibe I got.
That'll do it.
And I do like one current band who's going in the like traditional metal revival sector, and that's Tanith. I think they are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Russ from Satan's like trad project. I think that's really, really cool.
Awesome, man. So yeah, it's been great, chatting with you guys all about Hands of Goro. So the album is out. Let me get there so I can get there. It's Friday, March 1st. So in a few weeks, but the album release party will be February 24th. So look out for that. And I'll put the link for anyone who wants to see, who want to pre-order that. With what record label are you putting this out?
Berry Sausage Productions. It's a local record label out of San Francisco. They've been around for a while. They put out mostly like metal and independent bands and some electronic music. It's a small local label.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I recently talked with Scotty from Tank Crimes too, out there. So yeah, there's cool.
Nice.
There's cool record labels over there. So anything you would like to say to the people what to expect from Hands of Goro this year?
Chaos.
Go, Tom.
Chaos, turmoil, destruction. Hopefully some regional touring, possibly further afield. We just want people to listen to the record and tell their friends about the record. And if some people could buy it too, that would be great, because we self-funded this project.
Yes, that's very important, that self-funding. So you can see that it's really a passion project. And it's really a very fun album. I had lots of fun listening to this album because it's the type of album that, it's fun. And not everything needs to be so serious. So it's a fun record with lots of solos. lots of classic heavy metal sounds, and you
Lots of
know,
guitar.
and plus live it should sound great. Yeah.
Live, it's different live, you know, because I don't have, unfortunately, as many hands as Goro. I can't play all the harmonies, but we make up for it with energy and, like, the word we keep using, chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah, and you know what? When you're gonna go see Hands of Goro, you're gonna get your money's worth, because we're doing it for real. We're putting our heart and soul into it, and we're gonna give you everything we got. And you know, we're just trying to spread it out as far and thick as possible to take it. Anybody who wants it, you know, it's yours.
Nice. So, guys, again, I want to thank you for taking some time of your evening to chat with me about Hands of Goro and music in general. It's been really fun. So, best of luck with the release. So, until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.